of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, to see a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Consideration of the agenda.
Mayor, I asked you to remove item number 9, Vegas Road, East
Can I get a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're gonna do a roll call of new council by the village clerk.
Okay, Manuel Rosales,
Here.
Patrick Garcia,
Here.
Deborah Cooksey,
Here.
Mark Garwood,
Here.
and Robert Sines is absent.
Okay, item number 3, Mayor Deborah Cooksey will appoint the following positions of village clerk and village attorney. I am going to appoint the present clerk, Rebecca Bryant, to this time. Jeff Rhodes is not here, but I will appoint Jeff Rhodes to be our attorney, to continue to be our attorney. Item number 4, unscheduled correspondence and public comment, 3 minutes. Only items on the agenda can be commented on. Is there anyone, Rebecca?
Number 1, Joan Price.
So, do we come up there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I guess this could be said to be on the agenda.
Have you put it on the agenda?
No, but you say we have to comment on agenda items.
Yes, no?
So you, agenda item, approving the Open Meetings Act. I would like to ask the trustees, I'm trying to now educate myself on the Open Meetings Act. That's right, at the Attorney General's website. And they offer monthly trainings on the Open Meeting Act. So I was wondering to ask you to set up a training for people in the village who want to understand the Open Meetings Act, and then publicize it in some way. You're gonna approve it tonight or whatever you're gonna do, but you're not gonna explain it, and we can't ask questions. It mystifies me. And, there's a lot of, we need to have a training, and they offer them for free.
There's actually several books out on Open Meetings Act.
Uh-huh.
A lot of them.
Yeah. I'm grimacing because I don't wanna spend a week trying to understand it and then go through. I don't know, it says like it's a 45-minute training or hour training. They offer 2 or 3, either virtual or they'll send somebody down here for free. So that, the other thing I would like to say quickly is that I got on the village website, it's been redesigned, I found the agenda immediately. And, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan.
Thank you, Joan. Stephanie Du Bois.
I'll probably take less than 3 minutes. Only thing I want to say is congratulations
Thank
to
you.
our new mayor and our new trustees and our, again, trustee. And if anything I can do to help, I will do it. And I'm just very glad for all of you to be able to take these positions and
Thank you.
move our village forward.
Thank you.
All right, that's it.
Thank you.
Chris Rowland.
Good evening. The only thing I'd like to add from Stephanie also would be congratulate Mr. Barry for municipal judge here. So I know it's not on the agenda tonight. Just kind of bad planning on our part right now. But I've been approached by a lot of people in the community about starting a neighborhood watch. We are trying to organize it. We will be coming to the council to ask if we could use the old community center building where they do the Ditch Corporation meetings. And that's, I think, a nice place where we can all meet. It's kind of centralized for the community. It's in walking distance to a lot of residents. But again, we're gonna just need the village's permission to do that. And we're gonna be looking at the National Neighborhood Watch Program because allegedly there is some funding available for this as well through the federal government. And so we're gonna be trying to dig some stuff up with that and working with the sheriff's office and other agencies that already have that and collaborating with our police department. So that's all. Thank you, guys.
I was asked to investigate the neighborhood watch thing. It looks like it's already been done. Also, contacted Main Street, New Mexico Main Street for making Tularosa a what's it called? Frontier and native community. They said that had to be done first, and I wanted to make sure that was okay, that I do that.
Isn't there some grants related to that too?
Yeah, they open up, it opens up the doors as far as available grants. It allows you to use your own board of consultants free of charge. It's a win-win situation as far as I'm concerned. I've talked to the people that organize Main Street in Alamogordo, and they've done some magnificent things with it. So I'd like to do the same thing for Tularosa. But it's up to y'all.
Well, this is kind of like, we're just advising right now, but if you put yourself on the agenda, you know, about it, I'm sure that we can consider it.
All right, I'll do that.
And Rusty, I'm sure that Chris could use your help. 2 heads are better than one.
Okay.
Okay, if you guys wanna collaborate together, I know that you guys are speaking friends, so I think that, I think 2 of you will work out great.
Oh, thank you.
And that'll be it for public comments.
Item number 5, Deborah Cooksey, Mayor, is asking to approve the appointment of Warren Candelaria as Chief of Police at the pay rate of $30 an hour. Unfortunately, Mr. Candelaria could not be here due to a death in his family. So we couldn't really ask you guys to ask him questions, but can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And just a little speaking about Mr. Candelaria, he comes to us with over 20 years of experience. Mr. Candelaria comes to us. Mr. Candelaria comes to us with over 20 years of experience. He is a retired federal law enforcement. He has training, he has been a training officer. He has held lieutenant positions in the BIA, and we're hoping that he's ready to take this little place on and get us all straight. Item number 6, Deborah Cooksey, Mayor, is asking to change public comments from only agenda items to be discussed to have it as open for any comment from the public body. Did I get a motion?
Motion to approve that.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yay.
Let me comment on that while we're doing this, okay? There's gonna be some rules about that. You will have 3 minutes. Once your 3 minutes is up, she will ask you to stop. If you do not stop, I will hit the gavel and you will stop. If you do not stop after the gavel, you will be asked to be removed. We are not gonna let people ramble on forever. So you get your 3 minutes, you can say anything you want. You wanna talk about a baby diaper change, that's fine, that's what you get to talk about. But when your 3 minutes is up, your 3 minutes are up. Item number 7, Deborah Cooksey, Mayor, is asking to reinstate the Planning and Zoning Department. Could I get a motion for that?
I'll motion to do that.
Second.
Daniel?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Rebecca Bryant, item number 8, Rebecca Bryant, village clerk, is asking to approve resolution number 2023-2024-9, Open Meeting Act.
I'm gonna read a little bit on the Open Meetings Act, just so everybody can be a little clear on what it is. The Open Meeting Act states that except as may be otherwise provided in the Constitution or the provisions of the Open Meetings Act, all meetings of a quorum of members of any board, council, commission, administrative and judiciary body, or any other policy-making body of any state or local public agency held for the purpose of formulating public policy, discussing public business, or for the purpose of taking action within the authority of or the delegated authority of such body are declared to be public meetings open to the public at all times. Whereas any meeting subject to the Open Meetings Act at which the discussion or adoption of any proposed resolution, rule, regulation, or formal actions occurs be held only after reasonable notice to the public. Whereas of the Open Meeting Act requires the Board of Trustees to determine annually what constitutes reasonable notice of its public meetings. The Board of Trustees, if they state otherwise, the meetings will be held every third Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. in this court conference room. So that's basically what the Open Meetings Act is, saying that we have to have our meetings in a public, open facility for everybody to come to. If you want any more information, Joan, I can give you a copy at the office. We have to pass this annually. A lot of our projects and different things that we do require us to have a current Open Meetings Act, so every January we usually pass this, so that's what I'm asking.
Could I get a motion to pass?
A motion to approve?
Could I get a second?
Second.
And roll call, Bruce Wallace. Here. Garcia.
Aye.
Garwood.
Aye.
Science. Absent. Okay.
Number 9 has been removed from the agenda, so we'll go on to number 10. Adam Harper and Ryan Fulton of SVCSG Tularosa are asking to approve a special use permit for the development of community solar project.
You guys can come right up here.
Just come on.
And I brought my projector too. Down wall probably better?
That one, you go get us, take a screen there.
Okay. Yeah.
That was not gonna work. You can hold on your. Okay.
You can hold it.
Set it right over here. Do you need the lights dimmed?
It might be a little easier for the public to see.
Okay, sounds good. That's right.
I'll leave you out.
Apologize, everyone.
Can everyone see that?
We can do the light more if we have to.
Can everyone hear me?
Is that one on?
Hello?
Let me see.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty loud, I can project it.
Hello?
Oh, perfect. All right, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much, trustees, for your time and the public for allowing us to present this presentation. My name is Adam Harper. I'm the CEO and founder of OE Solar, and Ryan is with Sunvest, which is our partner that makes up the SBOE, which is our 4 community solar projects. I will be going over what I'm going to call Tularosa 1, 2, 3, and 4 in tonight's presentation. So to start out, just wanted to give a little introduction about what this was for, and our presentation is crafted to provide a comprehensive overview of our 4 proposed projects, which we are seeking individual special permit approvals, and we are certain that these initiatives will deliver a substantial benefit to the community. Additionally, we are ready to respond to any questions or concerns that the public might have regarding these projects. So a little bit about SBOE. SBOE LLC, again, is a 50-50 partnership between OE Solar, my company that's located in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we specialize in engineering, procurement, and construction, or an EPC firm, with Sunvest, which is a national community solar developer with a nationwide reach. The leadership team of SBOE is a powerhouse combined of national level experience in community solar markets and a deep-rooted local knowledge backed by 15-year track record of delivering successful projects in New Mexico. So for the folks that don't know what community solar is, or may know a little bit about it, but not really in depth, I'd like to just kind of give you guys a brief overview. So what is community solar? Community solar is a program where groups of people can enjoy the perks of solar power without having to install the solar panels on their own property. They join in on a bigger shared solar panel setup located somewhere else, and the power is divided among all of the people taking part, which then in turn are able to get a lower electric bill as a result of that. Why is it useful? This approach is really great for people who can't put solar panels on their home because they're renting, or maybe it's just too expensive. So it lets them still get the advantages of solar without having to put it on. And then who can participate? Community solar is a system where all sorts of people and organizations, places like Tularosa, that can join. It includes local municipalities, people that own their homes, places that help low-income communities, so nonprofits, as well as renters, charities, and businesses. They can all share in community solar power and be able to get a reduced cost for that. So going into our projects, this is Tularosa 1. This is the Owens property where the solar farm is planned, and it's situated between Tulagate Road and north of West Haringa Road to the south. The system size, the capacity is 2.875 megawatts alternating current, and the access site will be made through the Haringa Road, which is down on the bottom part of the project. The one thing I do want to call out, and this is on every single one of our farms, is as you can see, there is a 50-foot offset from the property line to the actual solar panels. And so there's a 25-foot offset from property line to our security fence, which is required per FERC requirements, Federal Energy Regulation, as well as state building requirements. And then from that fence, another 25-foot offset inside of that is where the actual solar panels will go. So there is a 50-foot offset from the neighboring properties. Second is Tularosa 2. This is the Odell property. Again, the design is found to be east of Highway 54, and the project is planned to have a capacity of 4.75 megawatts in alternating current, and the site will be accessed through the Townsend Lane road. Third is Tularosa 3. This is the Schaefer property. It's situated to the south of Haringa Road and to the west of Rita Road. This solar project will have a capacity of 4.5 megawatts alternating current, and the access to the property will be through the Rita Road. Riata, I'm sorry.
Ryan, it's Higuera. I'm kidding. Higuera.
Sorry, I apologize.
That's okay.
Tularosa 4, this is the Johnson Miller property, which is located east of St. Francis Drive. The solar project is planned to be sited as designed to produce 2.75 megawatts of alternating current, and the access site will be through the east of La Luz Road. So when we kind of talked a little bit before, this is where really the rubber meets the road. So what is the local benefit for the community? And these are things that we have found and I've went through that we guarantee that can come through. So number one, the village of Tularosa stands to gain significantly from the accumulation of millions of dollars in gross receipts tax, which will be collected from all 4 individual sites. Second, community savings. These projects will offer the people of Tularosa a chance to save on their utility bills by participating in them. And last but not least, the local economic growth. Each one of these projects will create jobs in the local area, both directly on the project and in related areas. SBOE is dedicated to collaborating with the village to organize a job fair aimed at hiring directly from the local community. And with that, that concludes my presentation. Again, my name is Adam Harper. This is my contact info, and as you can see, we are located in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
What was your number?
505, and I would be more than happy to pass out my card. 850-8863. And with that, I will be happy to take any questions. Yes, sir?
Could you tell me a little bit about your history, where you grew up? I think
Absolutely.
Clayton's.
Yeah.
I want to hear what we heard the last time we were doing the meeting.
Absolutely. Let me pull this back up. Anyone that wants my contact info, I will give.
Nope, we're good.
So, well, I'm working on this. My name is Adam Harper, and so, like I had mentioned, or like I was asked, is I grew up in Clayton, New Mexico. So, the reason I'm sitting here today is to essentially drive economic development in the state of New Mexico, but not just in the state of New Mexico, but in the rural communities where I grew up, as well as all of you guys reside now. So the reason that I'm here is that I was a part of this community solar effort, so all of these projects have essentially been vetted and approved through the New Mexico State PRC program. So for what that means is that there was over 400 and some odd projects, and we were lucky enough to be awarded 8, and 4 of these projects happen to be within your guys' incorporated area as well as in the extraterritorial zones. So this is something that is relatively very significant for the state of New Mexico, but not only that, the surrounding area. Because the whole reason that I was a part of this initiative and we created Community Solar was to do exactly that. How do we start generating revenue, but not just revenue, jobs and some economic benefit to these rural communities that may have got passed by I-40 coming through, or a plant shutting down. And so by doing this, we created what was called a local preference, but as well as an economic benefit. So not just to being able to build these solar farms and sell power to you, and it's literally as easy as changing the name on the check and signing a contract, kind of like a cell phone contract, that you can get in and out of, and you can transfer as long as you stay within P&M district. So it really helps bring the benefits of renewables to the folks of New Mexico, but also this economic benefit, because as you can see, these projects aren't being built around Albuquerque, Santa Fe, or Las Cruces like we see a lot of development. And so this is something, in my opinion, that is going to really be able to kind of resurrect our rural communities. Because when I graduated high school in Clayton, New Mexico, there was 2,500 people in that town. When my grandparents came out here before the Dust Bowl, there was 10,000 people in Clayton, and there was a J.C. Penney's and a Sears. When I left there, there was one stoplight. And this is exactly the type of programs that, A, we need construction jobs, we need infrastructure. As some folks seen, our grid is a little vulnerable, so we don't want things that happen like what happened in Houston, where the grid shuts down. These are able to provide that stability, as well as these are going to have some long-term jobs associated with it as well. And so I'm sitting here tonight asking you guys to humbly allow us to partner with you for the next 25 years. I'm 40 years old. I'm not planning on retiring anytime soon. And these aren't the last projects that I want to build, as well as I've talked with the county, or the village, I'm sorry, about other potential projects and how do we spur some more development and more jobs in here to be able to lift up from the bootstraps, which I think that we're all used to. How do we start doing this? And this is just the spear, or the tip of the spear, that essentially I see coming forward. We have some projects that were approved in Portales. So again, we've looked for rural communities. We do have one in Los Lunas, but the majority of our projects are going to be in the rural New Mexico, and that's something that's near and dear to my heart, and that's why we chose these projects, and we were humbly enough being able to get awarded by the PRC, which, like I said, 400 and some odd projects went through, and 41 got awarded. And out of that, 4 of them happen to be in your guys' town. And so when I do look at gross receipts tax, and I know that I talked with the trustees a little bit about this before, these are going to generate millions and millions of dollars worth of construction, which is able to draw on that gross receipts. I'm not an expert in gross receipts, so I don't know exactly how that works, but I can tell you that looking at this, we're looking at multiple millions of dollars worth of gross receipts that would go directly to the local AHJs. As well as we're looking at owning and operating these things for 25 years. So not only that, I'm going to need some essentially permanent long-term jobs to help operate and maintain these things, because again, weeds grow up, fuses burn out, and these things need to be operated. As well as all of the construction jobs that we're looking at, not just directly, but also indirectly, because these folks, they've got to stay somewhere, they've got to eat somewhere, they've got to buy their gas somewhere. And so I really do truly believe this is going to be something that Tularosa is going to see a benefit in. And hopefully, in maybe the next phase or the following phase, Tularosa looks at wanting to build their own community solar plant. And so, again, I would be happy to answer any other questions, but I'm coming to you today as someone that has sat in your guys' shoes and had some of the same concerns and same problems that I've heard here tonight, which are all challenges that can be overcome. Just need a little bit of opportunity, and I think that's what this can provide. Any other questions?
How much do you think those 4 plants are gonna make for your company annually?
Annually? Well, like we kind of talked a little bit before, we're talking multiple millions of dollars of just cost overall. So, it's gonna be a significant chunk of change, but like we did commit before, and I will tell everyone in this room, is that we also committed to all these farms, we committed 50% of the output to the low to moderate income industry. And on top of that, if you qualify, you can receive up to a 27.1% discount on your bill. And that's just literally by changing the name on the check from P&M to SBOE. And that is an additional benefit that we essentially committed to. But to answer your question, it's gonna be a significant amount of money because we have to go get money to borrow for these things. But how much we're going to profit, this is still a pilot program, so we're still in the phase of exactly we don't know how many people are still gonna subscribe to this. We have an anticipation that there's not gonna be a real big challenge with subscribing because there seems to be more interest than there is capacity. But it is something that we do essentially look at, not just what we're going to benefit from, but how are we essentially giving back to New Mexico? And again, that was because something that we committed to. So we're gonna sell that power at a 27.1% discount under market rate to a low-income community. So how much we can make, I could definitely say that's probably a discussion for next year once we have a little bit of data underneath us.
So will the normal people that are not lower income benefit from this too?
Yes, ma'am. So, so the nice thing is like I mentioned before, community solar is essentially we're becoming a power provider. And so we partner with the utilities to utilize their grid, but we're able to sell you power kind of door to door like how Texas works. And so by doing that, we're able to generate the same type of power, which is under the federal requirements. The difference is we don't have all the overhead that it takes to generate that power. So we're able to essentially generate the same commodity at a cheaper price, and then we're able to pass that savings on to you. So from just local constituents, let's say you four folks right now, we're gonna be able to sell you power cheaper than what you're buying it now, just by the mere fact that we can generate it cheaper than what P&M can. As for the savings, it's still a little premature of what we're offering to the local public that's not LMI, but I can tell you is that I'm gonna have to sell it to you significantly cheaper than what you're buying it now, or you're not going to subscribe. So I would say is that stay tuned, but we do plan on offering a discount to everyone that's under market rate, so everyone should be able to see a savings and a benefit that do subscribe to these farms.
So in other words, we're just gonna have one bill and it will be from you? Is that
So
correct?
that's called consolidated billing. We're working with the PRC to do that, but right now, P&M, you'll get two bills. But you'll get a bill from P&M and you'll get a bill from us. The P&M bill will have everything that you generated, plus the associated power that we generated, showing the wash or the no bill, but you still will get a paper bill, and then you'll get a bill from us for that amount of power, but just at a cheaper rate. But there is discussion, and we are trying to work with the PRC to consolidate that billing, but it requires P&M to update some more of their billing processes, and they need some more money from the PRC to be able to implement all that additional work, but that's coming.
As you spoke with us last time, they will be having fences around this, it will be protected.
Yes, ma'am, by federal and state law, we have to. It has to be an 8-foot security fence around the entire field itself to require controlled access because of the voltages.
Will you have cameras there?
We don't anticipate cameras, but that is something that can be done, but it's not required by law. So because these things are essentially power plants, we have what's called a SCADA system, which we're monitoring the activity of the system in 15-minute increments, 365 days a year. So as things move and we can see, we also have anemometers, which we're able to track what's the wind speed, what is the irradiation from the sun, so what's the UV rays. So we see a lot of things, even though we may not have cameras on them, but they will have essentially controlled access that is pointed out in the National Electric Code, as well as the CID State Building Code, which requires an 8-foot fence. Yes, sir?
We asked, the gross receipt thing sounds great, but I really couldn't tell for sure exactly where all these were going. Are they in the village of Tularosa, will Tularosa receive the gross receipts? Or are these in the county and the grocery, these are going to the county?
So This is probably something that you guys are a little bit better suited for, but there are 2 that are in the incorporated village limits, and then there's 2 that are in the extraterritorial zone, I believe.
3 mile.
Something like that, but when I talked with the county, they did say that everything did fall under the jurisdiction of the village and that I needed to work with the village to get the special approvals, and then I would file those with the county
I'm
courthouse.
sure the permit does, but I would.
Yeah, you have to file with us as well.
Yeah.
And that was my question.
If it's not,
For the DRC.
if it's
The
not
only one that's
active,
actually within the village limits is the Johnson Miller, right? Or Johnson Miller field that you guys are talking about. That's the only one that actually falls within the village limits. Everything else is outside the city limits by a good amount of way. So that would be giving the gross receipt tax to the county, I believe, that is for extent that we can't benefit from, right? So the 3 out of 4 are outside the village limits significantly, and the benefits would be going to the county.
So we will receive it from the one inside,
Just the Johnson Miller.
right, just the Johnson Miller.
I thought Owen's property was,
What's that?
Owen's property is at the corner of Riata and Yugeta? That's where the
Owens
Owens
is
property is,
it?
it's across the street from the dog shelter, and, no?
The one that they're speaking of on Higuera Riata is across the tracks, right?
Yes.
It's across the tracks down by Sioux Trail, at the
Oh.
intersection of Sioux Trail and Higuera.
And that's how they're.
And that's the one where you're talking about between Tulagi Road and Higuera. That's the field between Tulagi and Higuera. It's actually at the intersection of Sioux Trail and Higuera, where that field starts. The other one is Townsend Road,
Oh,
south.
right.
Townsend Road is south of town over here, and that's outside of the village limits as well. That's out by the county yard, under the state highway department. And, Johnson Miller is out here. You can access it off 54 or Lowe's, but that's the only one within the village limits.
But then there's the, additional gross receipts from the employees, the construction jobs, buying,
The lodging,
going to Subway, going to the local restaurants. Those kinds of gross receipts as well, right?
yeah, so that's what we essentially, I deem as indirect benefits, is that, just from all the construction activities, because again, we're planning on, and I would love to talk with the village if there's something that we could lease or rent for all these construction workers, that we're not able to hire from here, is, my intention is to try to keep as much money or as much economic benefit in this village as I possibly can, even though maybe 3 of these farms may be in the county. And so this is my intention. And again, this is something that is not just about making money for me. This is about revitalizing a state, because I'm sick and tired of when I go around the country seeing everyone think that Texas and Arizona border each other. So,
I just,
Are you recognizing me?
Oh,
Let me get it back, okay.
Get Tom back here.
I couldn't hear everything, but my first question is, do you have any other small communities in New Mexico that we could call and see how they like it? And 2, we're on Highway 54, you plan on putting these solar panels?
so number 1, no, because this is a pilot program and there has been no community solar farms that have been built yet. These are the first part. This is a program that's planning on staying in perpetuity, but you guys are a part of the initial wave that's coming through. You're not the only municipalities that are getting farms, because again, we only got 8 of the 41 farms. It just so happens our 4 that are in a village here in Portales, as well as Clovis. We do have another one in Chaparral that we're looking at building as well for another smaller community, but no communities have been able to do this yet because this is a new program. To your
So we are the first ones that's being done?
You're one of the first 47 communities in the state that are gonna be able to take advantage of this. Yes.
Okay, we're on Highway 54, the solar panels for.
So 54 in Townsend Lane. So south of town going towards Alamogordo.
Is there any that way?
There is one, which is the Johnson Miller that they were suggesting off of St. Francis Road. Is that the?
That's where I live, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have solar panels glaring me in the face?
Well, not necessarily. I guess it depends on where exactly you're associated or where you live in what relation to those farms. But again, having that 50-foot offset, as well as these systems track the sun. So you may have, if you've drove to Albuquerque lately, you see those big farms on the left, and you see the solar panels, they track the sun like this. So by doing that, unlike the ones that are on the roofs that I drove around town, those are fixed tilt. Well, when the sun hits your windshield, you can't get away from the glare. The benefit of these single axis is they're constantly keeping a perpendicular angle to the sun, so that way, essentially, you're not going to have that same effect of coming and having glare in your face for the next hour and a half because the sun's sitting in this one spot in the middle of summer.
Chris?
I will say, when I look at them, that 45-degree angles, is that right?
So they actually go 60 degrees delta either way. So it's 60 degrees east. We build these rows north to south, and then they track the sun east to west. But it goes from 60 degrees here all the way to 60 degrees west. And that's the angle, but they do move throughout the day. And so they're able to track the sun. They actually have the Garmin software that is built into the actual tracking system. So they know on December 21st, which is winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, which is also the sun is the lowest in the sky. They know that, and they're able to adapt to that. All the way to June 21st, which is summer solstice, which is the longest day of the year, and the sun's the highest in the sky. So again, we've taken into account a lot of these things, not to just maximize revenue, but also to essentially eliminate as much community impact as possible, to be able to essentially do both. The other big thing that I would like to just kind of hit home with these projects, besides construction, there's not a lot of water consumption, and that is something that I know is near and dear to all of us New Mexicans' heart, is that even though we're going to build these solar farms, they're going to be able to generate revenue and savings for the company. We're not going to need our most precious resource to do that.
Who's going to get the power from these solar panels?
P&M. So, well, we will own the power, but we will put them back into the grid with P&M. We've actually already had meetings with P&M, which we talked with you guys. P&M has already given us the green light to build these things, as well as they've looked at the grid, the substation, the power lines by your house, and everything is ready to go. So it's literally P&M has given us the approval, the state has given us the approval, and all of these systems are being built on our dime. We're not asking for one single penny from any of the municipalities. And so this is our last stop, which again, to talk with you folks to allow us to build these things, and if we do, then we're able to move through with these projects.
Chris?
Since this is a pilot program with PRC in between the solar companies, is there anything already planned for if for some reason further down the line something happens where the program doesn't go through, there's like required cleanup afterwards to leave the property as it was before, and any type of environmental impact that may occur? Are there any plans in place with the state in order to happen and deal with that?
So at the state level, so as for community solar, it's already in effect. So it's already moving through. In the Community Solar Act, when it was passed, it does not require the PRC to go back to the legislator every year to ask to allocate more capacity. It's up to the PRC to essentially just decide, okay, this first pilot was 200 megawatts, and they actually just issued the order opening up the second phase. So we're going through lessons learned right now, which is until Friday, and then they're opening up the NOPR, which is the Notice of Proposed Rulemaking, where they'll allocate more capacity come April 1st, and that will be allocated by statute or by law November 1st. So this program is moving through. They're not having to ask for anything else or there's no chance of it essentially getting shut down. But to your point about what we call in our industry is called decommissioning. So at the end of the 25 or 30 years, or let's say the useful life of the system, and if there's not a decision to what we call repower, because again, these racking systems, they're made out of steel. We all know steel's gonna be around for 100+ years, is that we can change out the solar panels or change out the inverters, utilize the racking, and run it another 25 or 35 years. But if we need to decommission this is in all of our land lease contracts, and this is a part of the leasing agreements that we had with your neighbor or the folks over there, is the decommissioning states that when we leave the property, we have to leave it in the state that we found it. And so all the concrete has to be ripped out, everything needs to be taken back, it has to be reseeded, and it has to be brought back to the state as when we found it. So that is in law, but it's not a state law. It's more of land lease, kind of commercial real estate law.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Berry?
On the surface, this looks great. I'm sure there's a problem somewhere, but I know, Representative Townsend just played with these a little bit, and I don't know how far y'all gonna go tonight, but I would encourage that, y'all to visit with him before you enter into any big time contracts.
So just so we're clear, there's no contracts that we're asking to enter in with the
Okay, I
village.
don't have any idea.
I'm just, all we're asking for is approval for zoning for us to then be able to move through with engineering and design, that we still have to go through, construction industry divisions, as well as all of these projects we've had to take through the state's cultural affairs. So again, making sure there's no cultural impact or any kind of significant issues. There's no wetlands, that we've done wetland studies. There's no endangered species.
Where'd you do that wetland study here?
At every single one of these projects.
I didn't know they did wetland here.
But what I'm saying is that to kind of, to your point, is for us to be able to submit these projects into the RFP originally, every single one of these projects had to be shovel ready. And so by being shovel ready, we had to essentially go through and get non-ministerial permits from the local AHJs. We had to let them know and see if there was any kind of approval we had to do beforehand. We had to go through cultural affairs phase 1 study with the state to make sure that we have one project that we may have some cultural impact, which is in Los Lunas because of the local pueblo there. But we had to go through that and identify that. We had to have our one-way and site maps engineered. So again, these things are fully baked. And then they had to go through the state PRC and MNERD, which is State Engineering Office, to be evaluated and approved. Because again, there was 400 and some odd projects, and they picked 41 of them. And the state, to their point, this is where they're looking at essentially helping try to diverse some of our state economy. Because these projects at 200 megawatts is not a lot, but 200 megawatts for the whole state is $538 million. So they're looking at this as a way for solar and renewables to start paying more additional tax to help offset some of our boom and bust things. And so, to your point, we've shooken out every single problem, every single nut. I'm a construction guy, I've been in construction for 21 years. I agree with you, construction's a 4-letter word for a reason. It's not about if there is potholes or issues, it's about identifying them and then managing that risk, because that's construction. And so we have shaken out every single wrinkle, knot, whatever you want to call it out of these things. But to your point, are we going to have some lessons learned in phase 1? By all means. But we're planning on essentially identifying those, mitigating that risk, and then learning from it and move forward in a better way.
Any more questions?
Mine's not a question, but I served on planning and zoning here, and we did deal with solar panels, private companies, and one of the things that came up is that FEMA is involved with solar panels. And so if it goes on fire, our fire department can't handle it, is what I'm gonna say. So, is that an issue for you guys, or no?
No, ma'am. So, number one, again, I founded this company in 2009, or I founded OE Solar in 2009. I've built over 11 APS schools. We've done projects for the city of Albuquerque. I have 25-year maintenance and operation contracts with the city of Albuquerque. I'm an electrical engineer by trade. I'm a licensed journeyman and a licensed master electrician. I have a firm saying, and this may be to your point where I grew up, I have a firm belief that if I live in a house, and I do, I live in a house that was built in 1954. If my grandparents and great-grandparents could build things that are still standing today, there is no reason I can't either. So number one, I take quality very high because, again, we're building these things to build it right the first time, because to your point, we're not making any money if we cut corners. The second thing is that by federal law and state law, we have to take into account that fire risk. But that's if I'm putting it on your roof, I'm putting it in a field, or I'm putting it in a commercial building. As an electrician, anything we wire, even these lights, we have to account for catastrophic failure, and then what is our remediation plan for that when it happens. So again, these are how I personally approach this, because I know that was a concern. My company's been in New Mexico. I founded in 2009. I learned solar in Hawaii. I graduated high school from Clayton High School, and I left for 10 years. I came back for the reason I'm sitting in this room here. I want to die in this state because I want to help. I want to see this state better than when I found it, and I have a 4-year-old son that I would hope he's not having to have the same conversation, because we have all of these programs that you folks are hopefully kind enough to let us embark with you guys on.
Okay. Make a motion. You guys have any?
Special use permit is an interesting conglomeration of 3 words. I'm not sure, and I don't have the ordinance memorized, but the only time we've ever had anything resembling a special use permit is a temporary divvy, something that wasn't conforming to the zoning for a short period of time. Somebody needs a house, a trailer house, that will take care of the sick parents. I'm assuming that the lease agreement that he has gives the owners given some authority to do this. I would like to see that. And in effect, it's your rezoning. I think that's what this, I don't know of any offhand special use permit category that covers a 25-year or, rezoning. And zoning is very clear. You have to give notice, you have to have a public hearing, and that's what I'm concerned about. I'm just over here making notes to myself. Check this off. The special use permit is something I'm a little bit leery for this situation.
I can add that we did get our variance from Portales, and one of the reasons why, number one, when we were reading through the zoning, there's nothing that in your guys' zoning ordinance that talks anything about renewables, and not just renewables, but power plants, because again, we're not putting this, what we call behind the meter, it's not going on a building, we're actually connecting, and they're actually associated as power plants. So when I read through your zoning ordinance, there's nothing that essentially, in my professional opinion, that steers these processes down that existing one besides the special use. So that's why we're approaching you with the special use. But the other thing with the special use is that, and this is what the city of Portales' reasoning for giving us a variance or requesting us going through the variance process versus rezoning. Special use permits and zonings can be essentially taken away. And if we do anything where the project moves or it catches on fire or whatever the case may be, or there's an issue with it down the road, you can revoke that special use permit. Where if we get it rezoned and it's zoned, then now we have a permanent zoning essentially decision, and so that's why we went down the special use permit path. But if there is some other path that you guys do see that would get us to the same result that may be a little bit different, that we could take care of, we would be more than happy to move down that, but that was our reasoning behind why we went down this path in this request.
I also have a question about my recollection is, you caught me cold here. My recollection is there has to be a specific assumption of the extraterritorial zone. It's not like 3 miles out of the city, it's a particular zone like that. The extraterritorial zoning for 3 of these projects, I'm not even sure that there is something to do until another stage is taken, and that is involving the county. Just, these are questions that just come up, like I say, this was told.
I can tell you, so also to your guys's, for your guys's knowledge, we actually put the solar on top of the museum for the county in Alamogordo. So we do have a working relationship with the county, and that's been over a year ago. And so for those other 3 projects, like you had mentioned, that are in the extraterritorial, we did reach out to our contacts at Otero County, and they did state that we would need to get that approval from you guys, and that they were hands off, that once we got our approval, that we would essentially just take it to them and they would record at the county seat. But I did make sure to ask them who I need to deal with, and they did tell us that we needed to deal with you guys on all 4 projects.
And I'm just saying, there may be something that the village needs to do to exercise that extraterritorial zone.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And again, it involves hearings, it involves notice to affected parties, anybody within 100 yards of the proposed area to be rezoned or affected. That's the only, that's a concern I have.
I will just add that if these 4 projects, for whatever reason, find a way that they don't get approved, they actually get DQ'd by the state. That capacity goes back, and these farms will go to another municipality. So it's not that if these solar farms aren't gonna get built, it's just if they get built here, or if they get built somewhere else. So again, the 200 megawatts have been allocated, and just so happens we are 24, 25, 26, and 27 on the list for P&M. So if these projects don't go through, then they're just going to someone else that is sitting on the wait list.
opportunity to look at the statutes and give you an answer to the questions that I have.
Make a motion that we, put this off for 2 weeks and have a special meeting as we let our attorney look this over. And then come back and make a decision on it.
I second.
All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
So, 2 weeks, we'll have a special meeting,
Okay.
and then we'll revisit with you guys, just giving us a little enough time to, look at the variables of it and everything, figure it out with our attorney, we just need to, he wasn't here last time, so he didn't get the full presentation that you did to us, so let's just kind of give us a little bit of time.
Okay.
We're not saying no, we're just saying, give us a little time.
I completely understand.
Okay.
I appreciate your guys' time tonight, thank you.
Okay, thank you, and so, our clerk will let you know whenever our special meeting is, okay? Thank you guys, we appreciate your presentation.
We appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gentlemen, could I get you guys to sit down, we're not finished with the meeting yet? Number 11 is Vivian Ramirez Individuals is asking for Laredo's Bakery permit to be pulled until they install a grease trap and have them run their own sewer line.
Good luck.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees. Reason I'm here tonight is to provide you with a solution for a problem that's been going on for a while. We have, and it's not only my problem, it's gonna become the village's problem if nothing is taken, if this does not get taken care of. We've had, numerous run-ins with Laredo's Bakery and the clogging of our sewer. Apparently, we are on a trunk line, and they do not have a grease trap. They have a grease separator. In your village ordinances, you require a grease trap to be installed. Also, in your village ordinance, you can do a control installation. 53.11 is where waste, you can get them to actually do their own sewer with the manhole, and they'll have, so they can do sampling and measurements of the waste. What I'm asking is to please do something about Laredo's. I'm tired of waking up in the middle of the night, the sewer's clogged, and it's not because of us. We've had the village go out there, they can attest to the chunks of grease that come out of there. They've had steam cleaners go out there, still chunks of grease. Something needs to be done. And they're telling me it's not their problem, the village's problem, but I believe it is because clearly in our ordinance it says they need a grease trap and they don't have one. So,
Richard,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
so have you cleaned that line? What do you see?
We have cleaned the line several times, because they have, just filled that line completely with grease. There's chunks of grease. I do have pictures that I can print out for the board. I could have done that today, I think, but I mean, there's football size chunks of grease coming out of it. A year ago, we actually did shut them down for a week and a half because the parking lot was just full of sewage because their clean outs where they were supposedly dumping the grease, they thought that was a sufficient grease trap, and it's not. But the parking lot was just full of sewage. I got the environment department involved in, I got them involved again, because they are refusing to do anything. So they have until this coming Wednesday, the 2 weeks out, that since we had a meeting, the first meeting with the mayor, remember that day?
I thought it was this Friday, you gave
Well,
it 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, but the part of when the equipment comes in, the plumber has until Wednesday to install it. And the environment department will come down here and inspect it on Wednesday. If it's not installed, they're gonna shut it down completely.
So that doesn't really have, we can't pull pull their food permit or their permit to sell.
We can pull their business
We
permit.
can pull their business,
Business
we can pull their business permit, yes.
And
And so the
But the
environmental,
environment department is kind of going over everything now. So they're actually, they came down here and they saw that they didn't have a sufficient traffic.
so at this point, let's let I think the environmental department is, I wanna say this in a word, cause I've dealt with them, their authority is really big. I mean, once they don't comply to what they're saying, they will shut them down for business. They don't have to worry about coming to us, but in the event that they don't, let us know. I mean,
When is the cutoff?
On Wednesday.
This coming Wednesday. Okay, this coming Wednesday.
So
So,
a week from today?
okay, so are you guys gonna have a special meeting if there's any way?
we're having a special meeting in 2 weeks, you can put yourself on that agenda.
Hold on.
The most straightforward way to address it is code enforcement. You issue a citation, they're subject to penalties.
Right, they are.
And that every day is a separate offense. So
We have a code enforcement officer that can do that right now.
Why haven't it been done?
Cause the code enforcement officer just took effect this week.
Yeah, just this week, we just had a code enforcement officer this week.
So-
And I'll get her on that right away.
Okay, so Wednesday, I'll be expecting.
And as far as them putting in their own sewer line, that's,
There's an ordinance where you have controlled installation right here.
that's for a grease trap for, in-ground grease trap for them to get it pumped. That's meaning. For them to be on, city sewer, they're on the city sewer in effect, that you guys are all on that trunk line. So whose trunk line is that? Who can dictate who gets off that trunk line, who doesn't? You know, that's the hard
If
part.
they're the one causing the problem, I would say they get off the line and they do their own line to the manhole.
it's very simple. You read the ordinance. They're required to have a grease trap. If the code enforcement finds that to be the case, cites them for violating that section, they got two choices. They either come to court or they get a grease trap put in. And that's the most direct way to go.
But with the environmental department, they can shut them down for that. They won't be able to serve.
Okay, well, this has been going on, and I didn't know if any of y'all trustees were aware of this.
I was
This
not.
has been an ongoing
I was not aware
problem.
of it.
This has been an ongoing problem.
Were you aware of it?
This problem's been going on since they opened.
2012.
So we don't really need to make a
They
motion
claim that they don't put
for
their-
it, because like you said, they can enforce it with the code enforcement. You just keep hitting them with fines, and it's not gonna be very long, because like I said, the environmental department is not, they don't play with you. They're gonna make you do it. And then the next step is after, if they keep paying the fines, or they keep going into court like that, you can also go to the environmental department and they will.
I have.
Okay.
They're aware of me, so, okay.
I don't think we
did
need to
speak
make,
to the environment department yesterday on this issue again, so
I don't think we did.
we're staying with it.
Okay,
Okay, all right.
as long as you guys are aware of it, and Mr. Rose says it's in the ordinance, so
It is.
we'll do that. Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Vivian. Do we have any old business that we need to take care of? Just real quickly, want to talk about making sure that everyone knows that the neighborhood watch, we're trying to get it together, so if you're interested, please contact Mr. Rupp and let him know. He will be going by the national standards, and there is a very big guideline that we have to follow. And it's not carrying guns, and it's not carrying tasers, or any of that stuff. So make sure that, if you're gonna participate in this, you participate in the right way and you follow the law. Okay?
Your phone is your weapon.
That's right. That's your weapon. Any new business? No new business? Yeah, well, just to let you know what, Trustee Garcia said is that the village cannot get involved in the neighborhood watch. We're not trying to be rude or ignore it. We understand it, but it becomes a very large liability for us if we were to get involved. And, you know, we don't have that kind of money, no town has that kind of money to provide that. Because if we take it on and one of you shoots somebody, then we're liable for it. So we can't do that. And neighborhood watches are not funded by villages or towns or counties. Like I said, they're funded grants by the federal government. But there's a little bit of money out there to help with signs, I know that, and to help, and to mandate what you guys need to do as neighborhood watch people. So, and that's basically, we're willing to give you a place to meet, but we can't be involved in it.
But we can attend as concerned citizens.
We can attend as concerned citizens, but. Any new business? I get a motion to